All right, got camp behind me here, down in a bit of a drainage ditch. Again, there's no signs here anywhere saying no walking bears. I'm on my own time. Legally, this is my time. I'm allowed to do this. The reason I'm concerned is I have been walking before where there's a bear approaching the road in one direction from camp, and security will kindly stop you and say, hey, if we could just take a shortcut through here because there's a bear over in that area. And so again, this whole rather beg forgiveness than ask permission. If security saw some guy walking into the woods, they'd probably approach you, at which point I would obey and say, yeah, of course, I'm not going to go off the designated path here because you are here to protect me. That being said, I'm about to walk into, this is like public lease. You're allowed to drive here on your own, and you could hunt a moose in these woods if you wanted to. I don't really see there being an issue. However, depending on who you talk to, I've talked to a fair few people just sort of hypothetically about this, and there's a mixed bag of answers. Somebody did mention that they had somebody traveling from Camp Wapasu here to Fort McMurray one night. Now, that's an hour-and-a-half drive, so if somebody's doing that, they're probably getting hammered. And so above the obvious reasons as to why they might get let go for doing something like that, my contract states I'm not allowed to drink alcohol within 12 hours of my shift, and I work a 12-hour shift, so essentially it's a dry camp. If you're going to Fort McMurray, you're probably up to no good. If I'm just going into the woods to go camping, pretty sure that's totally legit. This is my time. I have a responsibility to show up to work tomorrow well-rested, which I have plenty of time now to get a good night's sleep, and I don't see an issue with this. But I'd like to just sort of sneak into there without being seen. It's a beautiful evening. The sun's still way up in the sky because it is June 21st, the longest day of the year. So I'm going to make my move here and get into the woods, and then I'll show you the camping setup. So, mainly just a bunch of people out at the smoke pits. And I'm just going to scoot across here real quick. I have been into the forest twice before here. That's a pretty cool spot. So I'm just going to casually move across here. I don't want to be taking too much time. Nothing much to it. I'm just a speck in the distance. Nobody's paying attention. And here we are. Let's make our entrance. Now, the second I make it in here, whoop, eyes open. I was talking about bears. So the very first thing you want to do when you're dealing with wilderness and bears, step one, don't sneak up on things. Spray, going direct safety on. Just got surrounded by mosquitoes. Did not 100% anticipate that. So let's get walking. Now I can tell you the story about my bear spray. Okay, we're good. I cannot believe just how many raspberries are growing in this patch where I'm hiking through right now. So that is really cool. All right. The story to this bear spray. So you cannot, or you're not supposed to commute up to this camp. The whole point is you fly up and down because a lot of issues with safety are people driving to and from work. So to get this on the flight up here, you cannot put bear spray, whether it's checked or carry-on. It's not flyable. So how do you get bear spray? Now, I did initially talk to some people about this, and I basically said, hey, so could I get a hold of some bear spray? Because I just want to, walk laps around camp and feel a little bit safer. And essentially they're like, no, I'm not going to get you bear spray. But I did talk to 4 different security guards and the front desk people at camp, and I asked, so if I have bear spray, am I allowed to carry it on my hip while I'm outside walking? And they said, absolutely, 100%. So nobody has an issue with me having bear spray. It's just a matter of, is somebody going to drive to town and buy it for me? So luckily, this expired bear spray is used by the bear control people, I'm assuming, up here. And somehow I now have this. Did not steal it, but not incriminating anyone for giving this to me out of the kindness of their own heart. Bottom line is I have bear spray. I believe I'm allowed to have it in camp. It's just tricky to get here. So don't worry about me getting eaten by a bear. This is Wapasu Creek. Now, Wapasu Creek, got the bear spray, of course. This flows into the Muskeg River, which eventually flows into the Athabasca River, just north of Fort McMurray. And it actually flows into that river exactly at a bridge called the Bridge to Nowhere. Make this jump here. Oh. All right. So at that Bridge to Nowhere, if I were to put my boat in there, I could essentially put my boat in to the Athabasca River, drive up to the Muskeg River, look up that river, and even maybe head up the river, you know, a few hundred meters. Eventually I would get to Wapasu Creek and I would get to here. There's gold in the Athabasca River, at least I'm told. So maybe there's gold here. I'll be back later to pan this. Right now, I want to show you this beaver pond, because in the future, if the beavers end up rebuilding, like it's sort of like washed out, but if they end up rebuilding this, the water would really rise here. And you'd have like a 2-meter deep pond. You can tell there was water behind this dam at some point, but at the moment, there's water flowing through their little dam down there. And then, of course, if you look at the ground here, it looks all oily. There's actually, like, the oil sands. There's a lot of naturally occurring oil that's just sort of in the banks and sort of sloughing into these waterways slowly and naturally over time, of course. So I'm going to head down to the beaver dam here, have a little closer look, and then find a place to set up the hammock for the night. You can see an area where any beavers around would be happy to build this back up. So I might check back later in the summer, unless I get hard banned from doing this, and see if they've rebuilt their pond. Anyways, I'm gonna go find 2 trees and set up a hammock that I haven't taken out of the package for at least 10 years to hope that it still works and that the bug screen does not have holes. So this is one of the greatest tools for stealth camping, a hammock. This is a Hennessy hammock. And I think I bought this thing probably when I was about 20 years old. It's going to be my birthday soon, and I'll be turning 36. So 16 years old, probably haven't had it out of the package in the last 10 years. The entire video depends on this thing actually functioning and existing still. It is quite comfortable. It's about 9:45 and plenty bright out still. Hammocks are nice. Most of the bugs are on the outside of the screen, although there's a lot of them. I'd say this is probably the closest to a Camping with Steve style of video that I've done. To anyone who doesn't know, I mean, are you living under a rock? But Camping with Steve, he's a guy based out of Edmonton, YouTuber, and he always does these sort of unique stealth camping videos. So he was camping in a roundabout, for example. When I first heard about Camping with Steve, when I first saw one of his videos suggested on my feed, it was a stealth camping trip where he took a kayak down the North Saskatchewan River and then sort of camped in like a public park. So he's in the woods there, and, you know, somebody's walking their dog off in the distance and stuff. And it actually inspired me. It was one of the reasons I started Utmost Outdoors, this channel. And what it was was one of the scenes in that video. He basically set his camera on a rock and he spent like 8 minutes, no cuts, just making craft dinner, cutting some wieners into it, talking about, oh, you know, just making some craft dinner here, sitting in the woods. It was a very sort of real experience where you're like hanging out with Steve in the woods. But it wasn't like, you don't look at that and think, wow, what incredible film. Like, it was just nothing. It was like a camera on a rock making some craft dinner. That being said, I found myself not skipping through it. I watched that entire half an hour long video start to finish. I enjoyed it. Unlike sometimes when you're clicking through the Instagram or whatever, getting your dopamine hit, you feel worse after. And after watching that video, I felt better. I felt like I'd had a little time, a little moment in the outdoors. I'd enjoyed some time with a friend, cooking craft dinner in the woods. And I found it inspiring because that was right around the time he was gaining his original success. So to see that somebody who can just be real and go do something that I find interesting can have success on YouTube is far more inspiring to start your own channel than some of these channels that are incredible works of art. The film, the way they do the transitions, the camera quality, like everything's incredible. It's like they have a master's degree in film school or something like that. And you look at that and you're like, the barriers to entry to this are too high. Like, I can't do that. It's intimidating. And so to see Steve basically GoPro on a rock, hi guys, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can do this. And I really enjoy following his videos. There's something real about it. There's something cool about just sort of seeing what he's going to do next. And that's kind of what this is. Like, I've got a perfectly good camp over there where I could go and have a comfortable bed, nice hot shower, a lot less bugs, but I am, you know, fairly bug free in here. And yet I'm coming on to my 36th birthday. This is going to be the longest night of the entire year. I don't think the sun sets until like 11:30, and it's going to be bright out until like probably 12:30 at night. Sun rises at 4:30 in the morning. Why not camp out here under the stars if I even have a chance to see them? I don't know if it's actually going to get dark at all tonight. But, like, to me, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be happy I did this. I'm going to have a great time at work thinking about that time I went and camped in the woods up at Wapasu. So, like, this is what life's all about right here. There's my tree where I was set up. Well, that's my morning view. For a little morning workout. Worst ways to start a day.